Removing the dash cluster out of your 67 to 74 Mopar A-Body, not as hard as you might think it is. So whether you've got burnt out bulbs, a bad gauge, or you just want to make it all purty like, removing the dash cluster is going to make your job a whole lot easier. So I've removed and reinstalled this thing a couple of times now, just so I can kind of work out the best method. And I'm going to share that with you. At a minimum, you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver, a 7/16 and a 1/2 inch box wrench. And no, they don't need a hammer. Get that thing out of here. That is not what I meant. There are some other tools that'll make this job faster if you have access to them, but just these simple tools will get the job done. Now, the very first thing that you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna disconnect your battery. This is gonna protect sensitive electronics, like the voltage regulator on the back of the dashboard that fries really easily. There's two key things that I'm gonna show you that is gonna remove a lot of the frustration that I ran into the first time I tried to pull this dash out. And the first thing is we're gonna take our steering wheel. We're gonna drop it down just a little bit. First step in dropping our steering column is gonna be to remove this cover. You get 2 screws on each side, one at the top, one at the bottom. They come out pretty quick. Oh, simple, huh? Yeah. Just don't round them out when you're pulling them out. Got some kind of magnetic dish, just toss them up there. Works out really well, especially if you're like me. You got holes in the floor, you don't want to lose your hardware. Once your screws are out, this bad boy just pops right off. And from the lovely position of upside down, we got 2 nuts and a bolt to get out from under here. These are 7/16. So this guy right here actually has a little metal spacer. Get out. You don't want to get that out too. There's our nuts. I don't like that. But be careful at this point, because this is where your steering wheel wants to go thunk. Don't worry about it landing on you. It's not going to move too far until you remove these bolts right here on the firewall. And really, you don't even have to remove them. Just loosen them up enough to where the steering column gets a little more play in it, so it'll drop down however much you like. With the underside hardware out, the steering wheel drop down, we can go ahead and start getting our bezel out. Before it'll come out, we've got some connections that we've got to get off the back. The first is the light bulb for the brake light. And the second is this little booger right here, which is the main electrical connection for the left side of your dash. That connection provides some of your dash lighting, the connection between your fuel gauge and your fuel sending unit, important, as well as the connections for your temperature sensor. To get those out, you just jimmy your hand up back here and kind of feel around a little bit and find it and fish it out. There, light bulb. The second one is a little more difficult. This thing is almost directly behind your temperature gauge, so it'll give you a good idea where to look for it. And you just kind of wiggle it back and forth, and off it comes, along with one of the pins. That's not good. The next part that needs to come out is the speedometer cable. That bad boy is right smack dab in the middle behind the speedometer. You can see it here from the underside, and you actually have a pretty clear shot to get to it. You just don't have a lot of space right around it to work, so you can't get a wrench in there. Gotta do it by hand. So the best way to really get at it is right here between the emergency brake and the steering column. And if you come just behind this wiring harness right here, you can actually fish your meat mitts back up here. There it is. Now it's out. Remember earlier when I said there were 2 things that were going to make this a whole lot easier? We're to the second one. If you look back up in here, you can see this wiring harness. And if you follow this wiring harness, you can see that it runs right across the back of the dash. Just above the speedometer cable that we just took off, there's a clip that holds that wiring harness to the back of the dash and makes it a royal pain to actually get out unless you take that clip off. Now this clip might be taped into the wiring harness, so instead of taking the clip off the back of the dash, I actually just took it out of the wiring harness, took the tape off. It was a little bit easier. You might want to try that. So with the Speedo and the clip out, now we just need to get this electrical connection off, and then we've got 2 more connections on the back of our ammeter, here and here. And with those last 3 connections disconnected, you are in the home stretch. Just 6 little screws left, and you can start getting this instrument cluster out of your dash. You got 4 across the top and 2 in the front. Now, with those screws out, all you gotta do, take your dash, rock it forward. If your cluster still doesn't want to rock forward, you might have to reach back and pull the wiring harness over the connector that the speedometer cable screws into, because it'll hang up on that and then it doesn't want to come out. And there you have it. It's out. Now you've got easy access for whatever wonderful things you need to do to fix it, like maybe a broken off electrical pin. But if it's a fuel gauge you're looking to fix, well then, before you rip your dash apart, check out this video right here. No, don't lose the hat. They'll all see your bald head. Losing it. Bye.